Typically, when a dog starts barking, it's in response to a pesky squirrel in the tree outside the window or the mailman passing by the front yard. There's usually a clear reason behind the commotion, and you can easily identify the cause of your dog's excitement. That's why one woman found herself perplexed when her dog began barking incessantly at seemingly nothing and refused to stop. However, as she gradually uncovered the source of her dog's agitation, it became evident that her life was in grave danger. When a dog named Kaylee started growling and barking on the morning of December 30, 2016, it wasn't entirely out of character at first. Behavioral issues and trust problems had made her a challenging dog to handle. You see, Kaylee, a 3-year-old shepherd mix, had a rather unfortunate backstory. She had spent months on DeKalb County Animal Services' adoption list, waiting for someone to rescue her from her dire situation. But as a year passed by, hope was dwindling. If Kaylee wasn't adopted soon, she would face euthanization. Unfortunately, Kaylee's troubled past had left her with a tendency to snap at people, making her less than the ideal family pet. Too often, humans had let her down. However, one couple, dog owners Keith Santerperham and Jacqueline Berlin, recognized that Kaylee simply needed a second chance. Aware of her fear of strangers and convinced that a loving home would put her at ease, they decided to foster her. Nevertheless, they couldn't provide her with a forever home. Determined to show the world how remarkable Kaylee was, Jacqueline turned to Facebook. She knew that Kaylee required a very specific type of owner. Do you prefer solitude or spending time with a close friend? Is your idea of bliss an evening at home, cuddling with a loved one while watching Netflix? Meet your perfect canine soulmate, Kaylee, Jacqueline wrote. Jacqueline portrayed Kaylee as a Velcro dog who simply wanted to be by your side. Kaylee was the ideal companion for someone who cherished cozy nights and over wild nights on the town. Jacqueline eagerly awaited a response. It was Susie Chandler's response that would forever alter Kaylee's life. The story of what Kaylee had been through pulled at our heartstrings. Susie said, "We felt like we would be the perfect people for her." However, only time would reveal whether Susie's intuition was correct. Once Kaylee arrived at her new home, Susie had the typical concerns any pet owner would have. Would Kaylee get along well with her other pets? Would she truly be a good fit for the Chandlers? Or had Kaylee been through too much to ever truly adapt? Fortunately, her worries soon dissipated. Kaylee acclimated wonderfully to her new environment and even formed a bond with Susie's other dog. Instead of living in fear, Kaylee began to regain her trust in humans. This made the unexpected morning growling episode in December even more puzzling. On that particular day, Kaylee's behavior took a sudden and unusual turn. While she had only been with Susie for a brief period, Susie was certain that Kaylee wouldn't growl without reason. Throughout the morning, Kaylee growled and barked relentlessly, leaving Susie completely baffled. Although Kaylee had taken some time to warm up to Susie, she was as sweet as any other dog, which made her behavior even more perplexing. As Kaylee barked persistently, Susie tried to determine what might be causing her distress. Perhaps a calming walk would help Kaylee calm down. Susie decided to give it a try, so she leashed up Kaylee and ventured outside. Everything appeared normal, yet Kaylee's barking grew even louder. Susie was more bewildered than ever, until Kaylee started pulling on her leash. Kaylee guided Susie directly to the side yard, where an overpowering gas odor and a loud whooshing sound became immediately apparent. The source of Kaylee's agitation was now painfully clear: a gas leak. Through her persistent barking and tugging, the observant dog had been trying to alert Susie to a dangerous gas leak in her neighborhood all day long. Finally, Susie knew exactly what needed to be done. Without hesitation, Susie dialed 911. "I simply couldn't take any chances with people's lives at stake," she explained. Her concerns were justified. If Kaylee hadn't acted like a canine lassie that day, the Chandlers and their neighbors could have suffered serious illness or injury due to the gas leak. The neighborhood was soon filled with flashing lights and sirens. While a stunned Susie watched, firefighters went to work assessing the extent of the gas leak. Throughout the entire ordeal, Kaylee sat calmly and quietly, no longer barking or growling. News of her heroic actions quickly spread across social media, with an outpouring of praise for the brave pup. Once an abandoned dog teetering on the brink of euthanization, Kaylee had now saved countless lives and was hailed as a true hero. Susie proudly acknowledged Kaylee's heroic act, affectionately calling her their hero dog. Her love for Kaylee was evident even before the heroic incident, and now she's using Kaylee's newfound fame to shed light on an essential topic. If you have room in your heart to adopt a needy animal, it comes back to you tenfold, she urged, encouraging people to consider pet adoption. People like Jacqueline and Susie understand just how special and heroic a dog can be. In fact, they might have heard a similar story about a dog named Patch who pulled off a heroic feat of his own. It all began when Andrew and Clara Davis, like countless kids before them, pleaded with their parents to adopt a dog. Their parents, Nola and Richard, weren't initially ready for a dog. However, their stance changed when they learned about a dog available for adoption named Patch. Richard reminisced about the day he and his wife brought Patch home, saying, "We tricked the kids. We had a dog hidden in the back seat, and they couldn't see it. They were looking in there, going, 'What is it?'" When the kids finally saw the dog, Clara exclaimed, "I just lost it, and I started crying because I was so excited." Andrew and Clara had finally received their wish, and they were overjoyed. Patch seamlessly integrated into his new family as if he had always been part of the Davis clan. He fit right in from the start. However, the family soon noticed something that Patch strongly disliked. Andrew explained he did not like the water. He didn't like going into the bathtub or in the bathroom or taking his baths. But soon, water would become the least of Patch's concerns. As puppies tend to do, Patch kept growing and growing. As he continued to grow, Nola started worrying. Just how big would this little dog become? As Patch started to grow, we realized that maybe we had made a mistake, Nola admitted. He was going to be a big dog, and the house was awfully small. Andrew shared the same sentiment. We didn't have a big yard, he added. We didn't really have a place for Patch to stay. The Davis family discussed their options, some of which were heart-wrenching. What if Nola and Richard decided to find Patch a new home? One with ample space for the large dog to run and expend his energy, a home fit for a canine king. However, Andrew vehemently opposed the idea. I said no, Andrew declared. I said I would build a fence or something. His unwavering dedication to Patch convinced Nola and Richard to hold off on making a final decision for a few days. Several days later, on January 12, 1999, Nola was alone at home, soaking in the bathtub with the radio playing loudly. Suddenly, Patch dashed into the bathroom, an area he usually avoided. Even more surprisingly, Patch entered the room with a purpose. He sank his teeth into Nola's dangling arm. Confused and startled, Nola considered that Patch might have somehow sensed the family's intention to part with him. But Nola quickly realized that Patch wasn't attacking her. Instead, he was trying to pull her. She stepped out of the tub, grabbed a robe, and readied herself to shoo Patch out of the bathroom. That's when she noticed the smoke. As Nola opened the bathroom door, she saw that the house was consumed by flames. Worse yet, the act of opening the door drew the fire into the bathroom, igniting it as well. Both Patch and Nola found themselves surrounded by flames. Blinded by smoke and danger, Patch guided Nola through the blazing home, displaying the instincts of a seasoned firefighter. He would occasionally turn to ensure she was following him. Thanks to Patch, she eventually reached the front yard. Despite her lack of clear thinking, Nola initially wanted to re-enter the house to retrieve her car keys, but Patch blocked her path and gently pushed her away. He wouldn't allow her to face that peril. Seconds later, flames burst from the windows. The fire, triggered by an electrical short, reduced everything the Davis family owned to ashes. However, Nola and Patch emerged unharmed. Patch knew he had been the hero. Clara described Patch's demeanor during the aftermath, saying, "He was walking with pride, like, oh, I'm a good dog." He knew he had done something, and every time you gave him a treat, he acted like, "I did this, and now I get all the attention." As for whether or not to give Patch away, Nola and Richard had a straightforward response to that dilemma. The family purchased a new home in Montana, one with a yard where Patch could frolic and play.